All right, guys, well, it's that time again. Let's talk about the 3 stocks that I'm buying right now. And I'm actually going to throw in a 4th bonus stock for you guys too. You guys know me, I'm always trying to buy stocks. And of course, the stock market is providing lots of opportunities to buy. So I'm going to let you guys in on those top 3 stocks today, plus that bonus stock as well. I just ask that you gently hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed too, as it still says 65% of you guys aren't subscribed, even though you watch my channel all the time. So, just don't be afraid. Just, click the little button there. It's free to do. And I promise I'll bring you guys the best content that I can. Now, remember, these are just the stocks that I'm targeting right now. I'm not trying to say these are the only stocks to target or anything else like that. And there's actually 15 stocks on my watch list. But many of those have run up on this latest rally, so I'm kind of waiting for them to come down and correct a little bit. I mean, 100% run is not natural, in the stock market in just a few months. So naturally, some of those are going to correct down. And some of those stocks on my watch list still need to correct down from last year. They're still overvalued from last year as well. So that's the beauty of kind of having a watch list, is you kind of have a plethora of stocks to kind of choose from there. And obviously, some of them are going to be certain type stocks that are riding high right now. And then other ones are beating down dogs right now. And unfortunately, I can't control the market. I can't control what the market is going to do, where they're going to take these stocks in the short term or anything else like that. But what I can control is having a plan for each one of those and making sure that I have a mix of stocks to where there's always going to be some stock available for me to buy. It is very rare that there's a period of time where I'm not buying a single stock in any way, shape, or form or manner. There's always seems to be a discount out there. Now, I know there's been times where I haven't, because everything was just overhyped, but that rarely happens though. There's just small periods of time, maybe for a month or two where I don't buy, but for the most part, there's always something to buy in the stock market. And also keep in mind, I'm looking out 3 to 5 years. I'm not looking out next month or next week. I'm not a trader. I don't do any of those games. I'm not trying to get in and out or anything like that. So kind of keep that in mind as well when we're talking about these stocks. And looking at these stocks, these are the ones on biggest discount from my valuation, which of course is the most important thing you need to remember to do with every stock that you own. And if you want to see all my buys in real time on all these stocks, all 15 of the stocks on my watch list, complete with price targets, learn how to do evaluation, and everything else in between, make sure you join the Market Insiders private group with a March Madness sale. It's just running mad right now in the group. And that's exactly where we have 5 courses for you to learn how to do everything from planning to evaluation to even buying real estate and how to make it all work together. And again, you get all my buy and sells in real time. You get my watch list with price targets. We have hundreds of tutorials and videos covering everything across the spectrum. And you get access to the best 6- and 7-figure Discord out there. And there is a secret project coming to the group, but I will not be able to keep the price this low when it goes live. So make sure you lock in your price today, where you get that price as long as you stay a member before that price actually goes up forever. So make sure you check out the pinned comment and lock in your price for life, as I can't keep the prices this low once this super secret project comes through. All right, so on to stock number 1 of the 3 plus the bonus stock that we're going to talk about today, and that would be SoFi. Let's see here. They just continue to knock it out quarter after quarter after quarter after quarter. They just continue to have great quarters. They give great guidance. Everything about the stock is going in the right direction. But they've basically been beaten down and still hovering around those lows that we hit last year. It just kind of hasn't gotten the real run that a lot of other stocks have gotten. And add in the fact that the CEO is basically gobbling up every dip in the stock as well. All those signs point to me that this is a great stock at a great price. Now, I agree, it has just gotten crushed with all this, bank failure mess that's gone on so far. But when I really look at it, I look at the financial, I look at their asset mix, I look at everything else that's going on with SoFi, and I don't think they're at risk at all. And more importantly, this is just kind of what Wall Street does. They kind of beat everybody down for a little bit. I mean, heck, even JP Morgan got beaten down when all this stuff first started happening. Of course, everybody kind of quickly came to their senses and went, wait, they're probably going to be the ones that buy up all the good assets for pennies on the dollar from all these banks that may fail or could fail. So, Wall Street came back to its senses and went that way, but they haven't quite come back to their senses yet with a bank like SoFi. So I understand the caution there. I understand people wanting to be cautious with everything else going on. I'm not saying there is, lock solid fortress type that JP Morgan is or one of the other stocks like that. However, I don't see any sort of risk with what they're doing, what they have on their balance sheet and everything else in regards to this stock. So to me, this is just a case of Wall Street getting crazy with another narrative and just kind of beating up everybody, kind of like, a few, the sins of the few punish the many, something like that is what's going on here with SoFi. So I'm happy to buy the dip. So stock number 2 that I'm still buying like crazy, and that would be Amazon. And guys, this is exactly what Amazon does. It just runs up, it plateaus, and then it kind of goes on a next big run up, and then it'll plateau again and, kind of rinse and repeat with this stock. Now they are busy cleaning up the mess from the past few years. Basically they overexpanded during COVID, more warehouses, more workers, more everything. just basically misjudged demand too much. Do I think they'll eventually fill in all those spots and all those warehouses and everything else? Absolutely. I mean, it's not like people are going to quit buying less stuff on Amazon, right? If anything, people are buying more and more things on Amazon. However, they did kind of create a little bit of a mess there, and management has been spending the past year cleaning up that mess, and that mess is probably going to continue to be cleaned up through the rest of this year. So to me, that means great news as a buyer of this stock, because they're doing a lot of other things in the background too that aren't getting a lot of pub, that aren't getting a lot of press, just like AWS did back in the day. That's just going to all of a sudden pop up and all of a sudden like, wow, where'd all that money come from? Wow, now all of a sudden they're a player in this niche or that niche or whatever the heck the case is. They're doing it right now with prescriptions as an example, right? Obviously that still has to play out. We don't know if that'll be a big revenue generator or not, but I just know I get my groceries from them, and now they've, all of a sudden started tacking on, I don't remember what it was, $8, $9 charge, whatever the heck it was, to deliver groceries. And all it takes is one trip back to the grocery store for me to think that that is absolutely worth the $9. So before it was kind of, free, or, there was just a really small charge. Now they've upped that charge, and there's no chance that I'm not going to continue to pay that charge in order for them to deliver my groceries. And it's kind of the same thing too with Prime, right? They can raise the Prime another $10 every year, and I'm sure I'm going to pay it. And I'm sure most people are actually going to pay that, which that is just profit that just goes straight to that bottom line there in regards to Amazon. So to me, they're just, they continue to do these things quietly in the background. And I know it's just going to print money in the future, because that's usually what happens when they do things like this. So, hey, you know what? Wall Street wants to get done. Keep beating down Amazon. Awesome. I am happy to continue to buy it. All right, so we got one stock left, and then the bonus stock. So, you guys just hang tight here. We're getting there. So stock number 3 would be Google. And I know we got all the chat GPT noise and everything else. I've covered it up here in this video right up here. And then, obviously a bunch of other people have covered it as well. But I honestly am not afraid of ChatGPT or anything else at all, guys. We are in the first inning. I don't even think we're in the first inning, first minute of the Super Bowl in regards to AI and everything else that's going to come with it, guys. We may even still be in the pregame. I'm not exactly sure. But, basically saying Google's demise is just right around the corner, and people are just going to quit advertising. And, basically ChatGPT and Bing, basically Microsoft, who has never been able to even make a dent in, Google's business before, is all of a sudden now going to take over huge chunks of Google's business and is dead as a business. And not only they're going to be able to deliver to the customers, you and I, we're going to start Binging instead of Googling. They're also going to take over for advertisers too, to where they're able to deliver the best bang for buck that Google's been able to deliver for years. Microsoft hasn't done it yet. They hadn't been able to do that despite all these years of fixing everything and stuff like that. So I don't know, maybe ChatGPT can fix that for them too. Basically, as far as I know, nobody's, jumped over to Bing en masse. And then also, I haven't heard advertisers jumping from Google over to Microsoft, because they just deliver such a better experience for those advertisers than Google does. It's already trading at a ridiculous valuation, close to the lowest it's ever traded at. And you're trying to tell me that they're not going to figure this out at all? I mean, they're just dead in the water. I mean, just all of a sudden, Google has one of the worst management teams in the world now, and they have some of the worst engineers in the world working this problem and everything else. I mean, that's something that until it's actually proven out, I don't really think that's the case. So for me, again, this is one of those deals to where everybody's short-sightedness or buying into the hype that is AI and all this sort of stuff. I'm not saying it's not the future. I'm not saying it's not important. I'm just saying we're a long way away from it absolutely destroying companies like Google to where it's not a good stock to own. And oh, by the way, there's going to be more than one winner. So could it mean that Microsoft and Google could win? Probably, considering there may be 5, maybe even 10 big winners in this whole deal. I mean, who's to say? I mean, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense to say Google isn't going to be one of those winners. So for me, everybody else can freak out about ChatGPT and everything else, and I'll just happily scoop up shares on the cheap. All right, and on to the final stock here. And I know it's one of the more controversial stocks here on YouTube and such, but it's definitely one that I feel like, it's not, the cheapest that it's ever been. It's not, basically the best value out there or anything else like that. However, it's one of those stocks to where it just, it moves wildly. It's highly volatile, and it's just, I don't know where it's going in the short term. However, I just know, man, it's still trading really, really cheap. And it just, even though I added a crap ton of it back in, October, November, December timeframe, beginning of January and such, I just kind of feel like, hey, I need to open up my aperture a little bit and maybe just add a handful of shares and such, because I just think this is going to be a big year for the company, especially as we get to the tail end of the year and here and such. So For me, this last stock is one that I'm, honestly tempted to buy a little bit of shares, especially at 169.69 because, come on, guys, really? I just need to own some shares at that price in my portfolio, and that stock would be Tesla. I know it's not the cheapest ever or anything else like that, but, it kind of had that big run up over 200 and it kind of, dropped back down below it, which, of course, after a 100% run, of course, you're going to have a pullback of some sort, and it just kind of can't seem to get going. It just kind of gets a little bit of momentum, then it sputters and comes back down, a little bit of momentum, sputters and comes back down. I have no idea where it's going in the short term. However, I think this would be, unwise for me not to take advantage and add some more shares as opportunities come up with this stock because, hey, it is freaking Tesla, And to me, this is easily anything under $200 is a great deal on Tesla. So I need to be adding shares because when it decides to run, and I don't know when that will be, guys. I don't know if that'll be 2 months from now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. Who freaking knows? It's Tesla. It moves unlike any other large cap stock in the history of the stock market. I just know I want to be able to feel good about the fact that I added as many shares as I could. And if you want to see those buys in real time, take 5 courses for free, jump in on the live Q&As with me, have access to me 24/7, join our Discord group, and take on all the other things, including that secret project that I can't talk about yet, guys, but it's coming, I promise. Make sure you sign up for the Market Insiders private group where we're running the March Madness sale right now. And when that expires, guys, whenever that new item comes on board that I can't talk about yet, that secret project, I'm not going to be able to keep that price that low during that time. So make sure you lock in your price right now because you get to keep it for life. And click this video here if you want to see 3 other stocks that I'm buying right now. And click here if you want to see exactly my plan for the market right now. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.